Okay, this is the third lesson, and we will be creating the inside pocket of this part. So we are going to do this inside contour, and so we're going to need to offset some lines and create this with some arcs. So we'll be referring to this drawing to reproduce this. So we're going to go down 0.5 for the pocket depth, and we're typically right here 0.3 across. So the first thing we'll do is we'll create a rectangle inside offset from the outside. So what we do here, if we go back into SolidWorks, is we click on the top model, and if you want to start with a feature, you can. You could click on extrude cut, or you could just start with a sketch. And then I like to go normal to view when I look at this, so I'm looking straight down on the part. So as long as you've still got a blue face on here that selected this as a face, you can actually use this thing called convert entities, and it copies all the outside entities. I don't know if it copied the holes too or not, but what I want is the edges of the model. So go back to my normal to view. So what I want to do is offset those entities. So I'm going to click on offset, and we're going to put in 0.3 in this box right here. And then we want to make sure it's on select chain, and we're going to come over and click on this. And notice how the yellow chain goes the wrong way. Click on reverse, and then it would go to the inside. Hit the green check mark. So now we've got an inside rectangle. That's a distance of 0.3. So if you look back at the drawing here, we've got a couple circles that are around this point, and they're not circles, they're actually arcs, and that's why they're called out as a radius. So you could draw them as circles and trim them out, or you could just draw the radius with the center point. So I think that's what we'll do in this case, or maybe I'll show you one of each. So let's start with the radius of 0.313. So we'll come back into here. We're going to go to right here, circle, let's see, arc center point. We're going to select the center point. We're going to come over to a radius of about 3 and still touching the orange line there. We're going to click, and we're going to drag the arc back to the other line there. So that's a pretty nice way of doing it, because all you really need to give it is a smart dimension of 0.313, and I'll change this to show 0.123. So we've got black geometry that quick, just like that. The other option would be to do like a circle center point, and what you would do there is you would go ahead and smart dimension that, but it's going to show up as a diameter when it's really going to get trimmed afterwards. So I'm going to cancel that, hit escape, undo, because I don't want the dimension there. In this case, I probably would get my trim tool out, and I would trim the top part of the circle off. So I got a power trim, so I'm going to click and then hold my mouse button down as I draw right through what I want to get rid of. Then if I smart dimension it, I would get a radius. But I'm still going to escape out of that, because really I can just make these two the same. So click on it, hit the control key, and then say that they're equal to each other. So now they're black geometry. We also know that we could trim out this area right here, so we can go back to our trim tool, and we can do the same thing. We might want to zoom in, click, hold it down, and trim through, and then come over here, click, trim through. Now if you hit F on your keyboard, it goes back to fit to your screen, so you can do that. Get escapes, gets you out of that. I'm going to move my dimension in a little bit. All right, so looking at the drawing, what are we missing here? Well, we've got a bunch of fillets, and I think we'll save those to do those a little bit differently anyways. But we've got these curves here that are important. So they give us a point 1.650 to right here, and they give us this radius of 0.195. So if we were to go ahead and create that point right there, or this circle, we could do either way. We could define that. We know it's 2 inches this way. We know it's 1.65 that way. So let's go ahead and create that 0.195 radius. So if we draw, let's zoom in a little bit down here at this bottom. If we just draw a circle center point, and then let's grab the Smart Dimension tool, and let's say from the center point to the outside edge is 2. And from the top of the part down was 1.65. Is that right? Let me check. Yeah, 1.65. So if we do that, hit the green check mark. Now we've got that, and we just need to give it, radius was 0.195, so times that by 2 to get the diameter. And then if you were to right click that, you could say display as a radius. And then you'd want to go to 0.123, and sorry, then you got to do it again. Just right click display as radius. So we got a 0.195 radius. Now we've got to draw a couple lines tangent and then offset them. So what we'll do is we'll start by drawing our line tangent. So if we get this line and we come down to this bottom and we bring it up, if you just get it just right, you can see where you get the symbol of coincident with that little green dot, and then there's a circle with a line. Well, that means that it's tangent. So we're going to go ahead and click when we got that symbol. So we've already got these two things defined. So I'm going to get my Smart Dimension tool, and I'm going to Smart Dimension this line to this line and tell it that it's 45 degrees. So now I've got black geometry on that side. We're going to do the same over on this side, but I'm going to show you in case you don't do it the same way as I did. But let's say you click on the line and then you come up here and try to do it where I don't get tangency. It's kind of hard to do because you almost always get it. Come up here maybe. All right. So right now I do not have tangency. See how this side here, kind of this circle flows past it. So I'm going to get the Smart Dimension tool, and I'm going to Smart Dimension from here to here and say it's 45. So now I've got 45 degrees, so that's right, but notice how I'm not tangent to there. So what I'm going to do is escape out of the Smart Dimension tool, click on the line, then hold the Control key down and click on the arc and say that they're tangent. So now I've got tangency and it's coincident, which means it intersects with the circle or the arc. And now I can get my trim tool out, and I can click and drag through that. And I got to trim this part out too. So I got a little more trimming to do. So if I click and drag through here, and then I got to come over here and click and drag, just get all this out of here. And this is just a dimension line that you're seeing there. So I'll get out of my my trim tool. So maybe make it look like this so it doesn't look like that. And then you can kind of fix your angles. So now, if you look at the print here, this doesn't show it very well, but this doesn't go all the way through. It's the same depth as this. You can see that in the cutting plane. So the cutting plane this is a section A-A, so see the A's, and the arrows point the direction you're looking at it. So you're actually looking at the part back here, so you don't really see that this part right here doesn't go all the way through. It's still only a 1/2 inch deep as well. But we have to put some fillets in here, and we can do those in a little bit, but we want to make sure we can go around this hole here. So we've got to offset these lines and create this 0.188 fillet. Okay, so we'll go back into here, and we're going to go to offset entities, and then we're going to click on, oh sorry, didn't grab the right ones. Might have to undo. I don't know if I can unselect this chain. Let me see if I can unselect it. Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna undo it and redo it. All right, so offset entities. Now I got just this one chain. I reverse it to the inside like so. And we know we've got the wrong radius, but maybe we can fix that afterwards. So let's just go with this for now. Hit the green check mark. And then I'm just going to delete that out of there. And then we're going to try to put in the correct radius. So I could have probably just got rid of that from the get-go. And these are black geometry, so they're not going to let me move them. But we can go ahead and go to extend entities. And what you can do is on this, you can click towards the, don't click down on this side, but click towards this part and see how it extended it. You can do the same here. And then we can come back and trim this out. And now we're going to put the correct fillet in there. So that would be a sketch fillet. If we look back at the print, it's 0.188. So in here we can put 0.188. And then we want to click in on this line and this line. So we've got the fillet in there. So you can go ahead and hit the green check mark. And notice it shows up, I'll hit the green check mark again or hit escape to get out of that. It shows up as 0.12. Let's go 0.123. So we've got that correct. So the last thing we need to do now is just some trimming. So we're going to trim the areas that we don't want. We want it to come around here. We click and trim through here. This little bit that extends past, we want to get rid of that. We want to keep this. We want to keep this line. We want to trim right here. And we want to trim right here. The rest of these are dimension lines. So we should have everything that we want for black geometry for the contour. So we want to contour this one and contour this one. So we're going to go ahead and hit the green check mark and exit our sketch. I'm going to go into a trimetric view. And we're going to make sure sketch 4 is highlighted here, or whatever number yours, doesn't have to be sketch 4, but this last sketch. We go to features and we go to extrude cut. And in the depth, it's going to be blind, and in the depth we're going to go 0.5. And then down here in the bottom we're going to select contours because we have a couple choices here. So we're going to select this inside contour, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to select this little contour here. So you should have two contours, the inside of the big part here and this, basically the areas that you want to remove. So then once you got that done, you hit the green check mark, and it looks like this. So you can go ahead and save that. I will save mine as the third feature lesson and call it pockets. All right, next time we'll finish up with some chamfering and fillets, and we'll be done. So see you in a bit.